Hello, in this class we'll be discussing about the pathological changes seen in white blood corpuscles. The objectives of this class are to learn about the morphology and functions of various WBCs, to learn about the qualitative disorders of WBCs, some of which can be asked in exam, to be able to list out some of the qualitative disorders of WBCs, and to learn about one topic in specific, that is leukemoid reactions, that topic in detail. Before we jump into the topic, let us have a look at the various WBCs that are present in the blood. Starting with the most abundant type of WBC that is present in the blood, which is neutrophil. The second most abundant is lymphocyte. The third most abundant one is monocyte. Then there is eosinophil, and finally the least abundant one is basophil. Among these, neutrophils, eosinophils and basophils can be commonly referred to as granulocytes. Let's try to understand some of the basic terms. First is the total WBC count. This is expressed as per cubic millimeter, which is volume. So you express WBC count total as cells per unit volume, and that volume is cubic millimeter. Then we have differential WBC count, which is expressed in percentage. So basically, if you take a drop of blood, you smear it and examine it under the microscope, and you count 100 WBCs. In that 100 WBCs which you have counted, the proportion of each neutrophil, lymphocyte, monocyte, eosinophil, basophil, that is what gives you the differential WBC count. And thirdly, there is something known as an absolute count of a particular WBC. That is to say, for example, absolute count of eosinophil would be the differential WBC count of eosinophil multiplied by the total WBC count. That will give you the total number of eosinophils in unit volume of blood. Let us briefly look at the differential and absolute counts. The difference between differential and absolute count I have already told you. When we are discussing about the quantitative aspects changes in the WBCs, the count that matters to us more is the absolute count. Differential count, if it is abnormal and the absolute count is normal, then that WBC is not quantitatively abnormal. So if DC is high or low, but absolute count is still normal, then the term that we use is a relative increase or a relative decrease. Whereas if an absolute count is increased, then that signifies that there is a pathological alteration in the WBC count, whichever it could be neutrophil or eosinophil or basophil, monocyte, lymphocyte, anything. Just to briefly clarify what absolute and relative counts mean, suppose there is a college in which there are, say, 3000 students. You want to estimate how many boys are there and how many girls are there in that college. So what you'll do is you'll count each and every boy in that college and each and every girl in that college. So what you get then is an absolute count. However, assuming normal distribution, if you take 100 random people and in that you count the number of boys and number of girls, then that would be a relative entity. So in differential WBC count, that is what you are doing. You are assigning a proportion in 100 cells to various WBCs. Whereas in absolute count, you are counting each and every WBC in a given sample. So that is why absolute count is way more important than differential count. So differential count will tell you the distribution, but absolute count will give you exactly the numbers that are there. Neutrophils, like I told you, are the most abundant type of WBCs in blood, accounting for 40 to 70%. So if you count 100 cells, then in a normal individual, 40 to 70% of those 100 cells will be neutrophil. And the absolute count would be 2 to 7,000 per cubic millimeters. So here the unit is different, don't get confused. It is 2 to 7,000 per cubic millimeter. Second most abundant is the lymphocytes, which comprise of 20 to 40% of all the WBCs if you count 100 WBCs. And absolute count normally is 1000 to 3000 per cubic millimeter. Next abundant is the monocyte, which is 2 to 10% of all the WBCs, accounting for 200 to 1000 cells per cubic millimeter. Eosinophil 1 to 6%, accounting for 20 to 500 cells per cubic millimeter, and basophil, which is 0 to 1% in differential count, and it accounts for 20 to 100 per cubic millimeter. If you look at various textbooks, the values given would be slightly different in one textbook if you compare it to another textbook, right? So don't break your head much over it. Just understand the concepts and some of the causes which we are going to study subsequently. A few more terminologies. So penia in the context of WBCs would indicate a reduction in the absolute count, while philia or cytosis would mean that the count is more. The exception here is agranulocytosis, which means that granulocytes are reduced, not agranulocytes have increased. So don't get confused with that. So let us look at various different values here. Leukocytosis means increase in the total WBC count for more than 11,000 cells per cubic millimeter. Leukopenia is reduction in the total WBC count in which the total number of WBCs would be less than 4,000 cells per cubic millimeter. Neutrophilia means absolute neutrophil count more than 8,000. Neutropenia is absolute neutrophil count less than 1,500. Lymphocytosis is when absolute lymphocyte count is more than 4,000. Lymphopenia is absolute lymphocyte count less than 1,500. Eosinophilia is when absolute eosinophil count is more than 450. In some textbooks you could get this 500. Monocytosis when the absolute count is more than 500. And basophilia when the absolute basophil count is more than 100. Some of the values here, please try to remember. First one is total WBC count, 4,000 and 11,000. Second one is neutrophils, 1,500 to 8,000. And lastly, eosinophilia, that is more than 450. So these are very important as far as your exams are concerned. Let us discuss the individual entities we saw in the terminologies. The first one is leukocytosis. Leukocytosis meant that total WBC count is more than 11,000 WBCs per cubic millimeter. Here are some of the causes leading to leukocytosis. One thing you have to remember is, since neutrophils and lymphocytes, they make up the bulk of the total WBCs, the same causes which increase both neutrophils and lymphocytes can cause increased total WBC count. So mostly this is true for the causes of leukocytosis and neutrophilia, because neutrophil comprises for 40 to 70%. That is why an increase in neutrophil will most of the times give rise to increase in total WBC count. Let us see what the causes for leukocytosis are. First is infections. It could either be a bacterial infection or a viral infection. Then there is leukemia. It could be acute leukemia or it could be a chronic leukemia. Then leukemoid reactions, which we'll be discussing at the end of the class. Other causes include physiological causes, like one is pregnancy, the other is exercise. Now let us see the causes for reduction in the total WBC count, which is leukopenia. So leukopenia basically means the total WBC count is less than 4,000 WBCs per cubic millimeter. Infections with typhoid and paratyphoid, aplastic anemia and megaloblastic anemia, hypersplenism, some cytotoxic drugs such as those used in cancer chemotherapy, radiation, and sometimes leukemia. All these can cause a reduction in the total WBC count. which is called leukopenia. Coming to quantitative abnormalities of neutrophils, let us briefly revise the morphology of neutrophils. These are of the size of about 13 micron, which is almost double that of an RBC. The nucleus will have multiple lobes. The number of lobes normal is 2 to 4, or sometimes 5 lobes can be normal. However, most of the neutrophils will have 3 lobes. Granules wise, neutrophil is a granulocyte, so cytoplasm will have granules which are pink to purple in color, and the size of the granules is small. Neutrophil functions include chemotaxis, which is attraction of cell to a site of injury, inflammation, or even to a site of an organism such as a bacteria. Phagocytosis. Neutrophils are smaller versions which eat up some of the offending agents, so they are called macrophages. Killing of microorganisms can be done by a neutrophil. So these are the functions of a neutrophil. The causes for increased neutrophil count absolute include acute bacterial and fungal infections such as pneumonia, which is infection of the lungs, cellulitis, sepsis or septicemia, and acute rheumatic fever. It can also be increased in acute inflammatory processes such as acute appendicitis and vasculitis, or in tissue injury like burns, myocardial infarction, gangrene. Certain neoplasms, when the tumor cells die off, it can cause increase in neutrophil count. There are some other causes like after an incident of bleeding or after surgery. Some other tumors like chronic myeloid leukemia can give rise to very high neutrophil count. Metabolic causes such as uremia and acidosis. And finally, patients who receive steroid treatment, in them you can see an increase in neutrophil count. Causes for decreased neutrophil count include diseases in which there is a suppression of stem cells like aplastic anemia, or marrow infiltration by any tumor, or it could be granulomatous disorders like tuberculosis. It could be due to radiation, or it could be due to chemotherapeutic agents. In some cases, the neutrophils formed can be destroyed within the bone marrow itself, which is what is ineffective hematopoiesis, which can be seen in megaloblastic anemia as well as myelodysplastic syndrome. Severe infection can give rise to neutropenia. Remember, infections can give rise to both neutrophilia as well as neutropenia. So these infections include typhoid infection, paratyphoid infection, viral infections like measles, influenza and HIV, some parasitic infections such as malaria and Kala Azar, and some other conditions such as splenic sequestration. Most of the cells in the blood undergo destruction in the spleen. That is why if spleen is enlarged, then it can give rise to a reduced count. Next, coming to lymphocytes. There are two types of lymphocytes. One is a small lymphocyte, the other is a large lymphocyte. Small lymphocyte, the specialty is that, if you remember, in peripheral smear we judge the size of RBCs based on the nucleus of a small lymphocyte. So those will be of same size. Nucleus will be single and it will not have any lobes. It will be dark bluish. Cytoplasm of a lymphocyte will be pale blue in color. Particularly in a small lymphocyte, the amount of cytoplasm is very less. Next is a large lymphocyte, which will be much larger than a small lymphocyte. It has less densely stained nucleus as compared to a small lymphocyte, and it has much more abundant cytoplasm. In the cytoplasm, you may be able to see a few granules sometimes. Functions of lymphocytes include two things. Immune mediation. First is cell mediated immunity. The second is humoral mediated immunity. Cell mediated immunity is a function of T cells, T lymphocytes, and humoral immunity is a function of B lymphocytes. Coming to the qualitative disorder of lymphocytes, the first is lymphocytosis, which means that lymphocyte count, absolute lymphocyte count has increased, that too particularly beyond 4,000 cells. The causes include viral diseases such as infectious mononucleosis, measles and chickenpox, some chronic infections such as tuberculosis, syphilis, inflammatory bowel disorders like Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, some malignancies such as chronic lymphocytic leukemia or CLL. Lymphopenia, on the other hand, is seen in conditions such as aplastic anemia, HIV infection full-blown, that is AIDS, miliary TB, that is a full-blown tuberculosis, and also in patients who consume certain chemotherapeutic drugs. In them also you can see lymphopenia. Moving on to eosinophils. The size is somewhat similar to that of a neutrophil, and the nucleus here again is made up of lobes, specifically two lobes. Eosinophils are said to have a spectacle shaped nucleus, two lobes. Cytoplasm will have granules which are orange in color and are large or coarse. Functions of eosinophils are that it is involved in reactions to foreign proteins and also in antigen-antibody reactions. Coming to the quantitative abnormalities in the eosinophil count, you have to remember certain causes. This is a very important question for your exams. Absolute eosinophil count of more than 450 or more than 500 cells per cubic millimeter is the definition of eosinophilia. And the causes that cause eosinophilia include allergic conditions such as asthma, urticaria, hay fever, some drug reactions, and allergic rhinitis, parasitic infestations in the intestine, particularly roundworm and hookworm. Then you have malignancies such as AML M4EO and CML. Then also Hodgkin disease mixed cellularity, which is a lymphoma. Then you have other causes such as tropical pulmonary eosinophilia and hypereosinophilic syndrome. Please remember 4 or 5 causes of eosinophilia. This is very, very important for your exams. Monocytes are the largest of the WBCs in the peripheral blood, 15 to 18 micron in diameter. Cytoplasm will be grayish blue, sometimes vacuoles may be present, and nucleus is horseshoe shaped. It's not a lobe, it's just a horseshoe shape. Functions include phagocytosis, that is eating up of the offending agent. Immunological function, macrophages are said to be the first cell which presents a foreign object or an offending agent for further processing by lymphocytes. And it also acts as a mediator of inflammation by releasing certain prostaglandins and helping in the release of acute phase reactants. Causes for monocytosis include infections like tuberculosis, malaria, Kala Azar, syphilis, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, inflammatory conditions such as inflammatory bowel disorder, Crohn's and ulcerative colitis, systemic lupus erythematosus, rheumatoid arthritis, sarcoidosis, and some malignancies like AML M4. AML stands for acute myeloid leukemia and CML for chronic myeloid leukemia. Here it is CMML, which is chronic myelomonocytic leukemia. The last WBC for discussion is basophils. The size of these basophils are similar to that of a neutrophil. Again, these are lobed cells. However, the lobations are not proper. Nucleus may seem very compact or truncated. Granules will be there in the cytoplasm of basophils. These granules will be bluish to purplish color and large or coarse. Functions include participation in inflammatory reactions, particularly those in which allergic symptoms are there, and vasodilation due to the presence of histamine in the granules of basophils. Causes for basophilia include ulcerative colitis, juvenile immune arthritis, previously called juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, then certain drugs, then endocrine disorders such as diabetes mellitus, myxedema, which is hypothyroidism, infections such as chickenpox and influenza, and malignancies such as CML and basophilic leukemia. Before discussing leukemioid reactions, I'd like to explain to you the development of neutrophils so that your understanding of both leukemioid reaction as well as AML and CML will be better. Neutrophils in the peripheral blood, they develop from precursor cells which are present in the bone marrow. And during the development, there are various stages. The first stage, that is morphologically recognizable, is called the myeloblast. The second stage is promyelocyte. The third one is myelocyte. Fourth one is metamyelocyte. Fifth one is a band form. And the last form is the segmented form or the mature neutrophil or just neutrophil. The development occurs in this sequence only. Common mistake that students do is the second stage, that is the promyelocyte, they call it promyeloblast. So remember, blast suffix is there for only one cell in the lineage, that is myeloblast. Myeloblast in comparison to a neutrophil is a large cell generally. On an average, it's like 15 to 20 micron. It has less cytoplasm because the nucleus is very large. That is why it is said to have high nucleus is to cytoplasmic ratio. The cytoplasm of this myeloblast need not have any granules. Sometimes there may be a few granules. The nuclear characters, please do remember, nucleus has fine lacy chromatin with 2 to 5 prominent nucleoli. Here are a few pictures of myeloblasts. So it's a large cell with a large nucleus and less cytoplasm, that is why high NC ratio. Prominent nucleoli are there, numbering from 2 to 5. Chromatin is thin and interlaced, and cytoplasm need not have granules. Sometimes granules may be there, but it is not necessary for a myeloblast to have any granules. To the right side, you are able to see two images, both of real microscopy. So these are clearly large cells with a large nucleus, 2 to 5 nucleoli, and thin interlaced chromatin in the nucleus. This is another image showing numerous myeloblasts, each large cells with a big nucleus, less cytoplasm, and 2 to 5 nucleoli, and the chromatin in the nucleus is thin and interlaced. Coming to the next stage, which is not promyeloblast but promyelocyte. Promyelocytes are larger than a myeloblast. They have too much cytoplasm. Nucleus size is somewhat similar to a myeloblast, and the cytoplasm will have numerous primary granules. The difference in the nucleus of a myeloblast and a promyelocyte is that promyelocyte will have lesser number of nucleoli, but the chromatin distribution will be similar to a myeloblast. Here is an image of promyelocyte which has much more cytoplasm compared to a myeloblast. It has 1 to 2 nucleoli, and cytoplasm will show purplish granules, numerous. These are called primary granules. This is another image of a promyelocyte. Note the number of granules in the cytoplasm. There are too many of them. Sometimes it so happens that these granules can align in a row and then it looks like a rod. So that is called an OR rod, AUER rod. So if an OR rod is present in a cell, in the cytoplasm of a cell, WBC, then you know that the lineage is myeloid. It cannot be a lymphoid lineage. So that is why OR rod is specific to myeloid lineage, because granules are present, too many granules are present in myeloid lineage or neutrophil precursors. Here is an image of a promyelocyte which has numerous granules which have crystallized together in a linear structure called OR rod. So the pointer is pointing to a promyelocyte in which there are numerous OR rods in the cytoplasm. If a promyelocyte in its cytoplasm has numerous OR rods, then the name given to that cell is a Faggot cell, F-A-G-G-O-T cell. Next in the lineage is a myelocyte, which is smaller in size than both myeloblast and promyelocyte. Nucleus has somewhat more condensed nuclear chromatin. However, no nucleoli are found here. And cytoplasm has different type of granules which outnumber the primary granules, and these are called secondary granules. This is an image of a myelocyte which has a round to oval nucleus, sometimes eccentrically located. It has a small area of clearing at one particular point near the nucleus. It's called a perinuclear HOF. The reason why this area is clear is because Golgi complex which is there is present at that place. And in the cytoplasm, more number of secondary granules will be there and less number of primary granules will be there. Next cell in the lineage is a metamyelocyte. From this step onwards, there is a nuclear indentation. The nucleus won't be round or oval anymore. Instead of that, one deep cleft will develop in the nucleus. It will gradually deepen, eventually to give discrete lobes of a mature neutrophil. You call an indented myeloid cell a metamyelocyte when the nuclear indentation is less than 1/3 of the diameter of the nucleus. Here the nucleus will contain condensed chromatin and the cytoplasm will have secondary granules. This is an image of a metamyelocyte. So the shape of the nucleus is no longer round or oval, it's clearly indented at the site where the Golgi complex is present, that is the perinuclear HOF was seen in myelocyte stage. And the indentation is not very deep, it's just half the diameter of nucleus or less than 1/3 in fact. The immediate precursors of a mature neutrophil are called band forms. Here the nucleus has a deep indentation forming a C-shaped nucleus. It's also called horseshoe-shaped nucleus. Here are the images of band forms showing a deep indentation which is more than 2/3 of the diameter of the nucleus, and you can see granules in the cytoplasm. So it appears like a ribbon. This is an image showing the difference between a metamyelocyte and a band form. So more indentation means band form and less indentation means metamyelocyte. A small quiz for you. So there are three cells, all three of the myeloid lineage. So which are these cells? A, B and C. So the cell will start with the cell C. It has a round to oval nucleus and granules in cytoplasm and one clear area at the top of the nucleus in the middle. No nuclear indentation is seen, hence this is a myelocyte. Next, coming to cell A. Here one indentation is there, but it is less than 1/3 the diameter of the nucleus. So clearly that is a metamyelocyte. And the cell B has a deep indentation, so that is a band form. The last cell is the most mature, which is a segmented neutrophil. The morphology of segmented neutrophil we already discussed. With this basic understanding of the development of neutrophils, let us move on to the next topic, which is leukemioid blood reactions. So leukemioid blood reactions term is used to describe the occurrence in a patient suffering from some benign disorder that of a peripheral blood picture resembling that of leukemia. To simplify this definition, it basically means that leukemioid blood reactions are not actually leukemia, but they look like leukemia. Leukemias are malignant, okay? Leukemioid blood reactions are not malignant, they are reactive. In leukemioid blood reactions, there will be a marked elevation or increase in the total WBC count, and there will be presence of immature WBCs. So these are the reasons why they look malignant, but in nature they are not malignant, they are reactive. So there are two types of leukemioid reactions. The first is the commonest one, which is a myeloid leukemioid reaction, and the second one is the lymphocytic leukemioid reaction. Let us see the causes of both myeloid as well as lymphocytic leukemioid reactions. Under myeloid leukemioid reactions, the causes include: first is infections, particularly bacterial infections. Severe infections like septicemia can give rise to myeloid leukemioid reaction. Then leukoerythroblastic anemia, which is seen in some hemolytic anemias, can give rise to leukemioid reaction. Then malignancies. When I say malignancies, I'm not speaking of leukemia, but some other malignancies, solid organ malignancies, say, giving rise to this type of a blood picture. Then finally, acute hemolysis itself can release the peripheral pool of WBCs, mimicking a leukemia, causing leukemioid reaction. The next is lymphocytic type of a leukemioid reaction. The causes include infectious mononucleosis, cytomegalovirus infection, pertussis infection, varicella infection, tuberculosis, and carcinoma breast or stomach. Now we know that this leukemioid reaction resembles leukemia. Specifically, this myeloid leukemioid reaction mimics chronic myeloid leukemia or CML. So we should be learning what are the differentiating features between a leukemioid reaction and a chronic myeloid leukemia. So that is what this table is about. Leukemioid reaction in nature is a reactive entity to various insults, whereas chronic myeloid leukemia is a stem cell proliferation disease, that is a malignancy. Splenomegaly is characteristically seen in chronic myeloid leukemia, while it is not seen in leukemioid reaction. Splenomegaly means increase in the size of the spleen. Total leukocyte count, total WBC count is very high in chronic myeloid leukemia. It may be in lakhs, whereas in leukemioid reaction generally the total WBC count is less than 50,000. Toxic granules, that are big immature granules, are characteristically seen in leukemioid reactions because the content of those granules are what are going to destroy the insult that led to leukemioid reaction. Whereas in chronic myeloid leukemia, you will not be able to see those toxic granules. Next, since chronic myeloid leukemia is a proliferative disorder, there will be an increase in both basophil count and eosinophil count, which is not so in the case of a leukemioid reaction. Coming to LAP score, that is leukocyte alkaline phosphatase score, sometimes also called a NAP score or neutrophil alkaline phosphate score, that is increased in leukemioid reaction, whereas it is either normal or decreased in cases of chronic myeloid leukemia. Next is Philadelphia chromosome. So the presence of this chromosome in a patient confirms the presence of chronic myeloid leukemia. In leukemioid reaction, the patient has no reason for this Philadelphia chromosome to be present. In leukemioid reaction, the number of immature cells will be less than 10%, whereas in CML, the number of immature cells will be very high. Particularly, myeloblasts and promyelocytes will be very less in leukemioid reactions, but in chronic myeloid leukemia, the number will be slightly higher. Platelet count is usually normal in leukemioid reaction, whereas in chronic myeloid leukemia, it can be varied. It could either be normal or increased or low. RBCs in leukemioid reaction are not affected. That is why you need not see anemia in cases of because of leukemioid reaction, whereas CML patients are very likely to have a normocytic normochromic type of an anemia. Clonality wise, leukemioid reaction is not a tumor or a malignancy. That is why it is polyclonal in nature, whereas chronic myeloid leukemia is a malignancy, and the molecular definition of malignancy states that it arises from a single cell, which is also called monoclonal. This is what the peripheral smear image of a leukemioid reaction looks like. There are like two neutrophils here, two band forms, one metamyelocyte and one myelocyte here. So it appears very immature, and when the slide has so many of these cells, it will appear like CML, that is chronic myeloid leukemia. However, using the features which we just spoke about, we can differentiate between CML and leukemioid reactions. Coming to the last part of discussion, which is qualitative disorder of WBCs. Just if you remember the names of all these qualitative disorders, I think it should be more than enough. The first qualitative abnormality is a Pelger-Huey abnormality. There are no functional implications as such, that is, the functions of neutrophil is not affected in Pelger-Huey anomaly, just the appearance is altered. Neutrophils in Pelger-Huey anomaly will have only two lobes. Generally, normal neutrophils will have usually three lobes, right? Here it will be only two. The second one is an Alder-Rayleigh anomaly. Here there will be large lilac inclusions in the cytoplasm of all WBCs. In the image you can see large lilac inclusions in a neutrophil. Third one is a May-Heglin anomaly, in which you'll be able to see basophilic inclusions in WBCs. Giant platelets and thrombocytopenia can be there here, and because of thrombocytopenia, that is reduced platelet count, there can be bleeding tendency. Fourth one is the Chediak-Higashi disease, in which there will be gray-blue granules in the cytoplasm of WBCs and defective lysosome component. Because of the defective lysosomes, the functionality of neutrophils and macrophages are affected. They will not be able to phagocytose offending agents such as bacteria or any other foreign agent. The last disease is the chronic granulomatous disease, which is the presentation of which happens from childhood. Here the appearance of neutrophils is normal. However, again, phagocytosis and killing of organisms is impaired, and because of that impairment, the patient will have multiple granulomas. To summarize, first we learnt about the normal values of all WBCs, both differential count and absolute count. Then we went ahead and briefly described the morphologies of each and every WBC and spoke about the conditions wherein their counts will be altered. We ended our discussion with leukemioid blood reactions and briefly saw about qualitative disorders of WBCs. From this topic, for your exams, try to remember the causes for increase and decrease in various WBCs, specifically eosinophils, which is very important, and difference between leukemioid reaction and CML, as well as the causes for leukemioid reaction. Please remember.